All right. So our first review of the day is going to be for the film Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Here, long ass title. With here. So in this Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, this is the fourth movie in the rebooted series of Planet of the Apes films they did way back in 2011, which was Rise of the Planet of the Apes. There, and then they went on to do Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and then they went on to do War of the Planet of the Apes. The War of the Planet of the Apes is the latest. That was the latest film that came out in 2017. The two latest films were directed by Matt Reeves. This film has a new director here. This is Wes Ball, who's known for doing the Maze Runner series of movies. I like the first one. I like the first Maze Runner. I don't think I saw the other ones, but the first one was kind of decent.
Oh god, yeah. The first one's fine. It's a fine YA movie, but yeah.
Yeah. Now we did do a review of Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. That's going to be coming up on the site pretty soon. And it was interesting going back and watching that one because I haven't seen those movies in a long time. I mean, some people hold up that trilogy when it was a trilogy, very in high regard. Some people consider one of the best trilogies in all of film. From Rise to Dawn to War. What's your opinion on the trilogy of movies there?
I own the 4Ks. It is one of my favorite trilogies of all time. I won't lie, the opening to Dawn is pretty triggering now, just because it's so eerily similar to COVID. Like, it's weird how the opening shows like all these people being sick and the population being affected and like on a mass scale, and you're just like, god damn, like it's weird to rewatch Dawn from that perspective. But Gary Oldman, holy shit, he's incredible. What's his name? Jason Clarke.
Yep.
That might be the role of his career. He's fucking incredible in that. And yeah, there's so much in that movie that just works. Anytime an ape talks, it is just like the most horrifying fucking thing. And it always comes across like that. I'm blanking on the villain. Korra, I think, is the villain. Korra's a fucking asshole.
Oba.
And yeah, the way that that scene where he's like, "Oh, look at me, I'm a done ape. Ha ha ha. Oh, I shot you." That scene is so well done and just plays to the ignorance that that humanity often has when it comes to. I mean, I give Bradley Martin.
Oh.
Yeah, I give Bradley Martin a ton of shit. Shout out to Brad. I give him all this shit for white people always going up to animals that can kill them and being like, oh, it's more afraid of you than you are of it, and that's basically what these apes films are at points where people are so dismissive of these apes and then they fuck their shit up. It's like, yeah, you should have been more afraid of these fucking apes. It's also probably the role of James Franco's career in Rise. Like, he's amazing in that. And John Lithgow, holy shit, his performance in Rise is incredible, and War is just an epic. It's maybe my second favorite war film ever, behind 1917. Like, War for Planet of Apes is fucking incredible. But yeah, it's an incredible trilogy, so they had a lot to live up to heading into this film.
Yeah. So what's going on in Kingdom on the Planet of the Apes? With those first three films, you had the lead being Caesar, and you saw the apes kind of take over the Earth and rise there, and Caesar was leading it. But this film in Kingdom takes place many, many generations later, as the movie states, around 300 years later. And now Caesar is long dead. And now, like with many great leaders or prophets, the kind of teachings of Caesar, the word of Caesar, there's people who misinterpret it. There's people who use it for their own personal gain. There's people who, follow what they believe to be the true word of Caesar. I'm very much like a Christ-like figure.
It's the Bible.
Yeah,
it's the Bible, like straight up. That there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Like, they're talking about the Bible.
Yeah, very much so. They now it's because this time has been so far removed from Caesar and his bloodline that yeah, it's almost like people look at him as this Christ-like figure here, and you see these different people who worship him and worship his word there, and then some people, a group of people who don't even know anything about Caesar or anything about him. And the people that are representing that, so you have a new set of apes that you follow and a human character that you follow as well. Primarily here, you have the character of Noah, who's played by Owen Teague here, who belongs to a clan of chimpanzees. Who's the clan they basically grab eagle eggs and they basically raise the eagles and bond with the eagles. There, they use them for their gain for different things there. And then you also have this more dominant clan of apes here who go around basically colonizing all these other clans, bringing them in, enslaving them. That's ran by Proximus Caesar here. He's played by Kevin Durant, who we just saw in Abigail. He was the dumb villain in that movie.
And
And
Kevin Durant, by the way, not Kevin Durant,
did I say
not the
Durant? Oh,
Phoenix Suns.
yeah.
No, it's just, it's one of those names I feel like it blends into a T. So I just want to
Oh,
clarify.
yeah.
But Kevin Durant, yeah.
Yeah, Kevin Durant there. And then you see that he, went to Noah's village and into his clan there, got them, and then set on a mission of rescuing his clan from the main bad guy here, Proximus Caesar. And then amongst his journey of going back to rescue his clan, he runs into some other people. He runs into a orangutan by the name of Raka here. He's played by Peter McCone here, who he doesn't have much on his resume as I see here. And then he also runs into a human character who he refers to them as echoes, but then you have Rocco who refers to them as novas. He said that's what they call all humans is novas. And you see the humans are in an even more desperate state than we've seen in the previous movies here because of the virus. And the virus has now taken away the humans' ability to, for the humans to speak, their intellect. So now they're just kind of running around almost like animals there, kind of lost, and a lot of the apes kind of just round them up and kill them. And with a lot of Raka, he follows the word of Caesar as far as he follows the order of Caesar, about ape strong together, ape do not kill other ape. Very much of that very, the humbleness, the kindness that Caesar had, as opposed to a Proximus Caesar who uses the teachings of Caesar to basically enslave the other apes and use them for his own personal gain. So I'm going to pass it around here. Hunter, what were your thoughts on Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes?
So okay. It definitely takes about 20, maybe even 30 minutes to get going. It's just because you have to almost rise the Skywalker this. And I mean that in the sense of like you have to establish that Caesar's gone. You have to establish what his legacy means. And then you have to go ahead and push forward. So it's kind of like there's a lot to kind of set up on the chessboard before you move forward. This is like 2 hours 20.
Yeah,
So
2 hours 25 minutes. Yeah.
yeah, so I think that first 25 minutes is very well spent setting everything up. Once Noah's home gets fucked up, it's like off to the races from there, and the film really doesn't slow down. Like it slows down in terms of like dialogue and stuff, but that's like necessary. The first initial fight between it's not Proximus Caesar. There's another villain, and I'm
The
blanking on
gorilla.
their
Yeah.
yeah. I'm blanking on their name, but between them,
Sylvia.
that thank you. Yeah. Sylvia's a fucking monster, and that is one thing about this movie that is maybe the biggest compliment I can give it. This is the best the apes have probably looked, just because the technology has just gotten better for each film. What up, Lucky Dog Podcast? But the emotion in this film is so wonderfully done. Because it is that very much that biblical sort of, what do you take away from it? How do you twist things in order to fit your own agenda? Like there's a lot of that discussion in the film, and there is a death in the film that legitimately pissed me off. Like when it happened, I was like, God damn it! Like it's one that you'll probably see coming, but it was something I was just like, you son of a bitch, and I was really angry about it. By the time the movie ends, it's clearly setting up for a new trilogy, and I think the director's been pretty upfront about the fact that that's the plan. Um, I gotta say, Owen Teague, I've seen him in a couple things recently because I saw him in Eileen, which man, that's a movie with just so much wasted potential. And then You Hurt My Feelings, which I really enjoyed. But they've been building up a nice little resume for themselves between like It and It Chapter 2. Oh, that's right. He was in Mrs. Fletcher. Motherfucker. I knew he looked familiar. Okay, yeah. He's great. He's been in a lot of stuff I dig. And yeah, so I'm actually like I'm really high well in general, but I'm also very high on this movie. I was really happy leaving the theater. I was happy that they didn't screw this up because looking at Wes Ball's filmography, it doesn't really inspire a ton of confidence. You know, 3 Maze Runner movies, nah. But I thought he did a great job. Like I'll always give credit where it's due. I thought the action stuff was impeccably filmed. We already kind of talked about it, so it's not really a spoiler, but Noah's home gets fucked up. Like it might as well be the X Mansion. And and once that happens, like the way that whole sequence is filmed is so epic, and you feel so much for Noah in that moment. There is a human character that's introduced, and I thought what they did with her was really well done. And there are some choices that characters make that you go, oh man, I don't know if I like that, or that really does anger me, but you understand everyone's perspective in this movie, no matter how fucked up it is. So I really enjoyed this a lot.
All right. So yeah, with this movie being the follow up, and it's been quite a bit of break since we've seen a Planet Apes movie. 7 years, like I said, since
Yeah.
the last one came out there. People were even kind of surprised they were even doing another one of these. And now the plan is, I think they want to do a 9 film saga series here. So this one, and then 5 more, I guess, is the plan.
Oh my God, Jesus.
Uh,
Okay.
that's what they want to do with this. Depending, I guess we'll see how well this does in the box office.
Yeah, it always. I mean, yeah.
So this has a budget about 165 million, 160 to 165 million. So we see how
So yeah,
well.
this probably needs to make about 500 million for them to be super confident in it moving forward. Which, honestly, maybe,
I mean,
maybe.
there's really not a lot of big competition. I mean, Fall Guys isn't doing too
Yeah,
well. I don't know. Next week you have a horror movie, and then you have If, and then you have Back to Black. None of those are probably huge competition.
I
For
hope
If.
if bombs. By the way, because John Krasinski, yeah, you need to be humbled a little bit. um, like, but yeah, to your point, this doesn't have a lot of competition, so I'm sure. Um, Actually, what's the next thing? Isn't it like
Furioso is probably the next big thing, and that's in a couple of
yeah,
weeks. That's probably the
yeah.
next
Oh,
big.
you're forgetting about Garfield.
Oh yeah, Garfield. Yeah, there's that too there for the
Yeah,
kids.
yeah, God, like, and dude, that I hope that doesn't make money. I hope Chris Pratt's like just dude, no more voice acting for you. Um, but
Yeah,
yeah, this has a path that it could be successful.
yeah. So yeah, so it has that path there. Like I said, and watching kind of the other films there, I mean, Andy Serkis did such an amazing job and really knocked it out of the park as Caesar. And I was, doing in the Dawn review when we were doing that review, I said, man, he should have been nominated for an Oscar for this because he's
Absolutely.
really great in this movie. And what the motion capture actors do of the combination of the physical stuff plus the voice plus also just that acting. I mean, it just really is really very impressive. And I think that continues here with this film, with Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes here. The effects, like you said, have gotten better because, technology has advanced a little bit more. So I think the faces look a little bit better when they're swinging. It looks a little bit better climbing. I think all that looks a lot better here. I will say, though, I mean, being such a tough act to follow, from Andy Serkis to Owen Teague here as Noah, I don't think he captures a lot of that same charisma or a lot of that same, I think you really want to follow this character as much as you did Caesar. I kind of will say that here. Even though I do like the actor, I do like his performance. It's just like I said, such a tough act to follow. The journey
Yeah, I don't know.
the journey of kind of which he goes on meeting these different characters. He even meets his own kind of Maurice there with the Raka character, who's another orangutan there. His magical mystical orangutan that he has to, what I mean, the details gives him advice there. I did like that. I did like the stuff they did that and how I did like the concept of Caesar. So now that there's so many generations removed from Caesar, that his words and his teachings and how it's being used and like that. So I did like that plot point in the movie there. And I did like the character, even though we don't really see a whole lot of him. Proximus Caesar, I thought was very good.
Oh,
I thought,
he's amazing.
yeah, I wish we had more him in this because it takes it like he's only in the movie for the last 40 minutes of it. If I was
I'd say last hour. I'd say last hour.
last
Maybe
hour,
last. I'd say last
uh,
hour.
and I wish we had a little bit more of him. And you have the Freya Allen who plays Nova or May there, who's the human character, and people might know her. She was in the Witcher series there. Um, and
Sorry, you're getting Hemsworth, girl. Sorry.
Um, and for me, I think her performance is good, but then it seemed like in every scene she was like it was the one tear that was falling down her face. Every other scene, it was like so it kind of ruins the impact of things when like she's crying every that single tear at every single thing that's happening here. It just kind of ruins the impact of a lot of things there for me. What do you think?
I really liked her in this because he has that human dilemma of, okay, how do I, how am I surviving in this climate? And I liked her performance. Where she ends up as a character, I really liked, and I don't want to spoil, so I'll just kind of leave it there. Um, I thought Proximus, to your point, um, could I use a little more of him? Yeah, but I think they do a good job of giving us Silva to kind of bounce out because Silva's just such a dick. Silva's such an asshole. And so when you meet Proximus, the movie does a good job of kind of making you go like, oh, maybe Silva's actually the bigger asshole. And then you find out, no, Proximus is the much bigger asshole. And there is this very nice human component with Proximus, which I won't spoil. But there is this other human character that's introduced, and what they do with them, I love that. I was like, I love this. How this is kind of a monkey wrench in in everybody's plan. I will say too, because I just want to shout him out. John Pisano. They've done a lot of composing. Most recently for Invincible season 2, for Daredevil. All the whole run of Daredevil. They also did music for Maze Runner. They killed the score. I thought the score was fucking excellent from start to finish. So props to him there. But at the end of the day, I do, to your point, I think this is just it's so hard to follow Andy Serkis, but this didn't fall on its face like I thought it was going to, which is like the biggest compliment I can give it, because I really thought that there was about 30 scenarios where this shit would have just not been good. And no, they actually clearly gave a shit and went, we have a legacy to honor. And I think they actually, for the most part, nail it. It's more in that Rise scenario, in the sense of I just kind of need to see what they do next. Because I think Rise, even rewatching Rise, like I'd probably give it an A minus, like a low, like a high, like a medium tune in, I guess. And like a low peak probably, because I really do like Rise a lot. This is kind of right there for me. I went back and I rewatched some clips and stuff, and I was like, and this is like the second movie I saw. So I did the back to back yesterday. So I was out the theater for like almost 6 hours. But but I really enjoyed this, and I think that if you watch it, you're not going to feel a large fall off if you watch this. I would just say, to your point, I do think we're going to need some more time with Noah to go ahead and kind of get that connection. But
Yeah.
but I did like it. I enjoyed it quite a bit. So
Yeah. I wouldn't say the I don't think it's as good as those other movies, but the drop off is not steep. You know, it's I think it's
yeah,
still kinda around that area of quality, with this as far as the storytelling goes. It's just that I think that, like I said, tough act to follow, plus they do rehash some things as far as the dynamics between the apes and the humans that,
yeah.
that we've seen plenty of times before. Can the apes and humans live together in harmony? Is there a chance for peace? I think we've already kind of been through that a lot in the last 3 other movies, and it's here again.
I mean
Um,
that kind of needs to be your constant though.
he's
To be fair,
You think
like
so?
I do, yeah, because I mean,
Okay.
yeah. So I would push back on that. I do get what you're saying, but I do think that given the circumstances and the state of the world that they're inhabiting, that's going to be a constant,
Okay.
conversation. So
I do see that. Okay. So you do have that there. The ending of this, there's something that happens with the birds that was a little goofy to me. I didn't quite like that too much.
it's a
Uh,
little Home Alone 2-ish, but but I don't know. I didn't mind it. There's something that's done to get the birds that I thought was actually a cool moment of unity. And I'll just leave it at that. I do get what you're saying though. Like it is kind of yeah, it is a little Home Alone 2-ish in that way.
it's slightly a little bit goofy there. Um, and yeah, you do have that, and then there's 2 characters that meet up together at the end, that I'm like, "Really, you should be." I don't know, I think you should be killing her. I mean, you should be killing them for what they did there, but, but that's just me, though. I was like, "I don't buy that," but, the person's just totally cool with that, what they did. Um, so you do have that, but I mean, you got it's not. I mean, I think there's a lot more positive about this movie than there is negative about it. Like I said, the look of the movie, the score of the movie, the performances in here, are good. I do like the relationship the ONT character Noah has with his group of friends, with his brother and the girl there. I do like that. I think that's really sweet. And that camaraderie and that bond there. And I think, yeah, I mean, seeing Kevin Durand come out as Caesar, like I said, talking like in these scenes, like he's a preacher almost.
Yeah.
Do we bend our
Oh yeah,
heads
he's very much
Say
like
his words.
yeah,
His
he's
word.
definitely like he's scary, man.
What a wonderful day!
Yeah, Book of Caesar, he's preaching right there. So he's got that going on. So for me, I would give it I'd give it like a matinee. I give it like a tune in for me, like just a tune in. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'd go man, cuz I'm in that like B plus A minus tilt that I find myself in a good amount. I'd go because Peak is a little high because I do like Rise more than this still, but I really enjoyed this, and I think on a rewatch I might even like it more. Because I actually liked Rise more on a second viewing than I did the first time. So, um, but I do think just given I would have liked a little more development with the girl. Um, and to your point, where the film ends off, there is something I went, oh yeah, if if this had happened to me based on this character, I probably would just shoot you on sight. So you're not wrong there. Um, but even still, because I enjoyed it so much, I'd go solid tune in, like B plus solid tune in for me. Um, I saw this at a like a 3 o'clock, and going to my evening, and I was enjoying it. So I do wish on the timeline as well they would have been more uh concrete because they just kind of say many generations later. It's like you can say 300 years or 400, like you can say a time frame. You don't have to be so vague on it. I actually think it would have been more beneficial if they had done that. But
Yeah, the
even still,
Wikipedia says 300 years later.
oh wow, yeah, because the movie just straight up says many generations later, which like. But yeah, so I'd say a solid tune in for me.
Okay, yeah. So I see your point about I mean, this could be like it's because it's been so long since we've seen the last apes movies, and plus this is like a new set of apes here that we have from as opposed to the rise and dawn and war. So this could be like your rise of this new trilogy of movies or new set of movies here where okay we're following these new apes and their kind of new ideology here. So I kind of do see that a little bit there. Like Kingdom is like more of a setup thing as far as than more of a continuation of what we've had before there. It's more of kind of a setup for other movies and to see where we're going to follow these characters if they do come back in things. So yeah, we have good things to say. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I give it a tune in, and you also gave it a tune in there. You want like kind of a highish tune in, or you want to keep the
I'm gonna. Oh, God damn it. I'll say. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, because I really do like this, but yeah, I'll say highest tune in.
Do you think it's better than any of the other ones?
I no, it's not like the thing. Like the thing is, and I'll just freely admit, I think because you see Caesar kind of grow up, like with the compound, the in him or whatever, and all that. I think there's just more of an emotional connection to Caesar. Plus the way you tied in with Alzheimer's and all, like it's more focused on like one or two characters as opposed to all these new apes you're trying to introduce. So I think I think that framing just works a little better in Rise than it does here. Now with that said, you've got this out of the way. You kind of have the runway now to go ahead and expand and do whatever you want. But yeah, it's still the fourth best, but it's fourth best in one of the greatest trilogies that I've ever seen. So I can only be but so, like, to your point, like the drop off isn't bad. It's just that there is a drop off because the other three films are so great. So if you can accept that this will become its own thing and find its way and all that, I think they'll be fine. But where this ends is a very intriguing setup without spoiling anything. So yeah, I'd say a high tune in.
Okay. All right. Cool. So that was our review for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.